Good morning, KE. We're going to read our morning message together today. Make sure that you point to the words as you read. You can just look at my arrow. Good morning, KE. Today is Monday, May 11th, 2020. Let's compare and contrast the two dogs together. Let's have a marvelous Monday. Love, Miss McDaniel. Okay, so we have two pictures of two different dogs here. We're going to compare and contrast. So before we do that, let's have a little bit of a reminder about what compare and contrast means. Remember, in class, we did this little trick to remember. Compare means they're the same, how they're the same. Contrast means how they're different. So when we compare, we look at how they're the same. And when we contrast, we look at how they are different. So today, when we compare and contrast, I don't have a whiteboard to show you as I'm doing this, but you can definitely follow along by making your own Venn diagram. We know that when we make a Venn diagram, there's two circles, and they have a little loop in the middle that are together. That's where we put the ways that they're the same. On either side is where we put how they're different. But for now, we're just going to talk about it. So we have these two dogs. First, I think that we'll start with ways that they are different. So first, let's talk about this puppy right here. So one way that this dog is different than this dog is that he's a cartoon, right? He's a cartoon, and this one's not a cartoon. This one's also a different color, and he has black ears, right? So that's a difference. This one has a bigger snout, so he has a longer snout. And he has a red collar on. So those are all things that are different. So we're contrasting about this dog than this dog. So now let's talk about this dog. This dog is real. So he's not a cartoon. This is a real picture. Okay. He's a different color. So he's a lighter beige color, I would say. His ears are not as long and they're not black. They're beige also. So his ears match with the color of his body. His mouth is open, which is different than this dog because he has a closed mouth. And it looks like he has a little bit of a smaller snout, so it's a little bit shorter. It's not as long. So that's a way that that is contrasting this puppy from this puppy. So we just talked about the two ways that they're different. So those would go in the sides of your Venn diagram. Now we're going to talk about the ways they are the same, which is when we compare. So that goes in the center of your Venn diagram. So the ways that these dogs are the same is that, well, they're both puppies, right? They look like they're both babies. They're not fully grown adults yet. They're both puppies. What's another way that they're the same? They both have a little black nose at the end of their snout. They both have eyes that are black. And they both have, we can't see it in this picture, but we know from our schema, which means we know this from prior knowledge, things we've already learned before, that this puppy has 4 paws, right? And we can see that this puppy has 4 paws. So we could say that they both have 4 paws also. If you have anything else that you can think of, then you can write that down if you're making your own Venn diagram also. But otherwise, I think we got a good amount of comparing and contrasting done with these two. We figured out a few things that make them different from each other and then a few things that make them the same. So we did a pretty good job. I think we can move on to the calendar. So we went through a whole weekend. Now it's Monday. So we're still in the month of May. It's Monday. Let's go all the way down with our finger. Monday, the 11th. So today is Monday, May 11th, 2020. We are almost halfway done with May. I can't believe it. Okay, the weather. Today's weather is, well, yesterday was absolutely beautiful, and I think that today is going to be similar. I know that it may have rained last night, but when I look out the window, it looks sunny to me. So I would say that today is sunny. Okay, so let me move my, there we go. Sometimes it can be difficult to focus when learning at home. What is something that you can do to help yourself focus? So I don't know about you guys, but I know that for me at home, when I'm trying to work on my computer, sometimes I get distracted. I look around, I see maybe food that I want to eat, or something pops up on the TV, which I try and keep my TV off because it limits distractions. But or maybe there's other people who are talking that are home, someone that I'm with. Um, it can just be easier to become distracted, I find, than when we're at school. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that and share some ways that you can maybe help yourself to focus, or maybe just for you to think about, do I get a little more distracted at home, and what can I do to help myself focus? Because even though we're home, it's still very important that we're putting all of our energy into learning, because you guys are all getting ready to be first graders next year. And I know that you're going to be wonderful and so ready for first grade because you've been working so hard at home. So it's important that we continue to think about good ways that we can help ourselves to focus. So you're not alone. Even your teacher has trouble focusing sometimes learning from home. So I do these things on my own to help myself to stay focused. I said, when I begin to have trouble focusing at home, I put on some relaxing music while I work. Sometimes I also schedule breaks for myself so that when I come back to my computer, I am ready to go. So this is kind of like what we would do in the classroom. Every morning when you guys came in for breakfast, we would have silent work time, and I would play relaxing jazz music. I do that at home for myself too. So if that's something that helped you to stay focused while doing morning work, you can ask an adult in your room to play some jazz music from YouTube. That's all that we listen to. So that's one way that can help. And another thing that helps for me is when I schedule breaks for myself. So sometimes it's really hard for me to sit for hours at a time. I'm so used to being up and moving around with all of you. So what I do is I schedule breaks. So maybe I'll tell myself I'll work on the computer for an hour, and then I give myself a 10-minute break to stand up, walk around, maybe step outside, maybe do some stretching, some yoga. So, and then I come back to work. I give myself 5 or 10 minutes. I come back ready to go. And then I have my focus back, ready to keep working for you guys. So those are just some things that I do. Another thing that could help maybe is taking a little bit of a snack break to have something to eat, maybe a break to drink some water or some juice. There are so many other ways that can help you to focus. So if you have any ways that help you that you've been doing, you can share them in the comments below. But if you have been having trouble focusing and you haven't really thought about coming up with something that helps, then I suggest that you take the time to think about what helps you to get your focus back, because it's really helpful just to acknowledge that and come up with something that you can do to help. I don't know if you realize, but we would do a lot of this in the classroom. I think that now that I mention it, you'll probably realize we would do brain breaks pretty often. We would stop and do some stretching and yoga. Maybe we would just stop and wiggle out our arms and legs. I would play music when we were working. So all of these things they're things that we've already done. If that helped you, then you can do them at home also. Okay? All right. Have a great Monday. If you have any questions about anything, be sure to let me know.